All right, welcome back to the Stormcast. Oren Glickman, Noah Kessler, and our beloved Jogo filling in for Hoffberg for this episode as a guest co-host. So we obviously had the opportunity to get Jogo's perspective on the success of the volleyball team. Just to recap, volleyball, two big wins, one big home match in 5 sets over North Shore, giving North Shore their first loss of the season, followed by a win over the Ramaz Rams, who have been a dynasty in the volleyball league for quite the last few years. And winning in, as Jogo pointed out, volleyball beats Flatbush on Tuesday night in Brooklyn, and they will automatically be in the playoffs. Jogo, any final thoughts on volleyball before we pivot to the other teams?
I mean, unfortunately, it's not up to us, but there's still a chance that we could host a home playoff game, which would be huge. Yeah, I think we would need Ramaz to lose out, but Ramaz to lose their next 2 games and Frisch to split and Hafford to split. But it's not in our favor. It's on our odds, but the odds aren't so good for us. But anything could happen, in this league.
Yeah. So let's go to that volleyball interview that we had with you before we segued into the main theme of the show. We are back for another edition of the Stormcast. Glad you could join us, Oren Glickman, alongside the legendary Noah Kessler. We have a special exclusive interview with Joseph Goldberg, more affectionately known as the famous Jogo. Jogo, welcome to the Stormcast.
Thank you for having me.
So a lot to dissect with you. Why don't we talk about the newest? I would still say, even though it's in its second year, it's still the newer team among TABC athletics. Talk to us about the volleyball team. According to a lot of people, you guys are right now the most successful spring sports team. You're 4-3. You have one more regular season game that will hopefully punch your spot in the playoffs. And you guys had 2 big results that really put you on the map in terms of the league at large. So talk to us about that.
So at the beginning of the season, we had some hardship. We started off 1-3, versus we started off last year 2-0. So it was a much different feel to start off the season. Recently, we're currently on a 3-game winning streak, hoping to make it 4 games this week at Flatbush. But really impressive playing. When we played North Shore this week, they were undefeated 6-0, and they came to TABC, and it was 5 sets, hard fought, 2-hour game, longest game in school history. But really, really back and forth, and fortunately, we were able to pull out the victory at the end of the day. And then a few days later, we went to the city. We played at Ramaz. As we know, they're 4-time repeating champion, going for a 5th this season. And last year, we actually went there twice and lost twice, including in the semifinal game. And we started off the game, and we called a timeout. It was 6-6 in the first set. And we knew in the huddle, this is not the same Ramaz team, not even remotely close to what they were last year. And we had the confidence, and we carried that into the game, and we won in 4 sets. There's something I want to know is that in past, at least from last year, the league has gotten much weaker, and I think we got stronger as a team. Yeah.
So talk to us about, the fact that, you guys have a spirit within you. You don't give up in certain situations on sets. I think there have been times where you've been down 5-6 points in a set and you came back to win. You fought a couple set points to keep the set alive and ultimately win, whether it was like 25-23 or something like that. How do you guys keep it together and, keep playing for the set? Because volleyball, I feel like, can sometimes be a game of emotions.
Right. So I think our Coach Omar Munoz, I think he really knows what he's talking about, and he really knows how to control the game. So we know that he has our back. So he'll be able to coach us, and he'll be able to call timeouts at the right time. Which in the North Shore game, he called a timeout at the perfect time. He stopped North Shore's momentum, and we actually got the last 5 points of the set to take the game. But we know he has our back, and we know that whatever happens, volleyball is a game of mistakes. So whatever happens. But we know that we had the experience. We made the semifinals last year as the first inaugural season. We made the semifinals. I mean, we have nothing to lose. And starting off 1-3, there's really nothing to lose. I mean, you have to keep on winning to make the playoffs. But if we lose, we lose. If we win, we win, and we're hoping we win. But anything could happen. But we know we have the right players and we have the right talent. And yeah.
Yeah, and you guys, I think there's reason for optimism that this team could be good again next year. You're losing only 3 seniors, and it looks like you'll still have a lot of the cream of the crop left for the following year.
Yeah, so we'll have Gabe Melnikov, who is a rising star of the team this year. Obviously, I'll still be there. We'll have key players like David Ratzerdorfer and Caesar and Ben Sion Kreisman. But overall, yeah, we'll hope to advertise. Hopefully, we'll grow the team, have more players to build the program for the future. Obviously, it's a 4-year team, so eventually all the guys are going to graduate. And we need to build a team for the future.
Yeah. What have you enjoyed the most about this sport coming to TABC, and what's made you the most proud about helping grow this program?
So I think it's a very chill game. A lot of people, in the winter you have the two big teams are basketball and floor hockey, and those two teams are it's very physical, taxing teams, and it's more of a chill, fun, slow pace. You have to know what you're doing, but it's slow pace, it's fun, and it's really good teamwork, because the main goal of volleyball is to bump, set, and spike. In order to do that, you need 3 different people, or at least 2 people, to be touching the ball on one possession. So it's really good teamwork, calling out for the ball, knowing where you are on the court versus other teammates on the court, and it's good for values in life, just knowing your teammates and where you are and what the other team's doing and where you could fit the ball into the other side of the court.
Yeah. Not to throw shade at any of the other spring sports teams because, well, I happen to coach one of them actually. But what gives you a reason for optimism that, in just its second year of existence, this volleyball team could win a championship and bring it back to TABC?
Yeah, so as I said before, so last year there was no expectations. It was first year team, and we actually made the semifinals, which was very impressive. This year we came back stronger, and as I said before, also is that it seems like the league got much weaker. You had a Ramas team that was dominant, and they lost their first game in years this past week, and then they lost again to us. You had a Flatbush team that was 8-0 last year, and they're 2-5 right now. All these teams that were very dominant last year just seems like maybe they're senior dominant, but they graduated, and that's how yeshiva sports work. That's how high school sports work. You only have 4 years, and then after, it's next rotation. So,
Are there any shout outs you want to give to anyone on the Stormcast?
I want to shout out Max Epstein. He's really good at making all those chants on the bench. Shout out to Coach Omar for coaching us. We really did not know what we were doing last year at tryouts, and to see the growth that we all have is pretty amazing. Shout out to OG and Kessler and Hochberg for having me on. Appreciate it.
All right.
Let's
Thank
go
you so much
Storm.
for taking the time. We wish you guys best of luck. Obviously, big match on Tuesday. Unfortunately, it's in Brooklyn. If people want to go to the match, they'll have to travel quite a long way to go.
OG, you sleeping in Brooklyn Tuesday night?
I actually have to coach my JV team, so unfortunately, I will. I'm hoping for a stream. If not, I'll be praying for Max Epstein text updates after every set.
Yeah, win and we're in, so it's a big game.
Yeah, hoping you guys pull off the dub, and obviously, if you guys, I think we're expecting you guys to win, but it's nice to be in control of your own fate. We obviously don't want to have to wait on other matches for us to clinch our spot in the playoffs. So yeah, best of luck. Let's go Storm.
Yeah.
And we're back. All right, so that's the volleyball piece. Next, we are going to discuss, we'll dedicate 15, 30 seconds to track. I think track, we're going for their 10th straight championship today. Unfortunately, nothing lasts forever. The dynasty finally came to an end. TABC came in second to Kushner. I guess the message is that nothing's a given, and it's very important to show up to those meets before the main championship. Run as much as possible. Not saying the TABC took anything for granted, but maybe these schools are getting stronger when it comes to running regularly. No thoughts, right?
I mean, I honestly have not been following the TABC track and field team.
Tennis unfortunately lost a heartbreaker tonight to Frisch. They're 0-4 on the season. I will say, though, about tennis, they have a lot of promise, and they have the potential to lay a foundation for the future. Eyal Kinderler is the only senior who plays on this tennis team, so everybody will be back next year. You have someone like Levi Eliason who's playing singles as a freshman, which is not common in the tennis league. Hopefully tennis will get on the board next week. They have a match against Kushner where I think they'll be favored in that one. And there's definitely room for optimism for the future. Eyal Kinderler happens to be an amazing player, by the way. He unfortunately came up short in his match tonight against Frisch's top singles player. Hopefully he'll get his first win of the season next week against Kushner. So that's the tennis front. Baseball, unfortunately, Noak, you were at that game with me. Baseball, unfortunately, came up short, losing to Hank 4-0. Noak, what were your takeaways from being at that game today?
I mean, I think the stat line's not going to show you, but I think Sam Levine pitched great. He had 4 runs today.
Yeah. There was just one inning where I think it was just exhaustion. He got tired.
Yeah, he kind of cruised through those first couple of innings, and I'm not going to make excuses for him, but it was kind of raining, and it wasn't just raining.
It was actually 5 innings of no rain baseball up until the
and then like it started pouring.
Right.
So and they didn't call it because it was a turf field. So I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but
right. It doesn't get any easier for TABC baseball. Actually, they have to play SAR and Frisch in 2 of their last 3 games, so that's kind of a game that they needed to win. If they can't pull off one of those, they're looking at the real possibility of finishing 500 on the season. It should still be enough to make the playoffs. We shall see. JV softball, crucial win over Heichal on Friday. Noak, you're obviously one of the stars on the team. Thoughts there?
I mean, it looked like for a moment there that we could go in at 3-5. But YDE did lose. YDE did beat Hilo today, which we weren't expecting to happen. But we obviously lost to MDY 18-1 the other day. I expect us to go out there. I think the game got moved from tomorrow to Wednesday. So I expect us to go out there Wednesday. I think we're going to put up a better fight than most people expect. Most people are expecting us to go down like we did last time. But this time we will have Itai Berkovitz, Adi Vrumberger, and Tani Fleischman. Again, we're playing on concrete, so we're not really used to that. So I'm excited. I think we're going to play much better against MDY.
Yeah, I will say, we're obviously not going to be favored in that one, but we will be at full strength. And listen, I don't think it's the magging. If we don't make the playoffs, I don't think it's the magging game that we're going to look back on. It's the first game that we're going to look back on. That's going to be the one that did us in. Having said that, though, Mag and David played a doubleheader against Frisch. One was a mercy, and the other one was much more closely contested. So that could be the case here, where, it was bad last week, but hopefully it's better this week.
Yeah, and I mean, don't tell Coach Forgash because he doesn't like when I talk to the opposing team on first base. But I was talking to the Hillel coach, and he told me that second game, they kind of played down to their competition in Frisch, and that they didn't really need to go out there and put all their best players in. So I think they're going to play down to us and not realize that, hey, we have our 3 best players coming back. I mean, you could put Zach Fields as one of the top 3. But, we have 3 of our top players coming back, and, I think we're going to catch them by surprise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think especially because softball, anything can really happen in that game. Softball is very it's a game of unexpectations and not knowing what's going to come next. And any inning you could string along 10 runs, and any inning you could give up 10 runs.
Yeah, and that Heichal win, I know Jogo wasn't there, but that was the best hitting we've seen all year so far from the team.
Yeah, and I mean, to kind of to piggyback off what you said, the fact that Brothman flipped the switch in that last game, went 3 for 3 with a walk. If he comes up big in that MDY game, even not if someone else steps up in that game, and now we got 5 guys hitting against MDY, we could really pull this off.
Yeah.
It's every guy winning their at bat.
We do know the Magan pitching is very different than Heichal pitching. I think what we need to do is we really do need to work the count, and hopefully some of those fast pitches will land in the ball zone and get walks instead of hits,
Yeah, I mean, the MDY game, we did that we didn't do in any other game. We kind of popped it up. We didn't pop it up. We've been known to pop it up in every other game. I think that's the fast pitching. We're getting early on it. We're putting the ball in play more. Instead of waiting back on it and popping it up, which you make contact with one of those pitches and you can hit it a far away because it's going really fast. And it's harder to hit the fast pitching, but it's easier to hit it farther.
Short grounders to third can also, with fast pitch, that could kind of be the way to go. You make like minimal contact with it to like it gets to third, but like not enough for the third baseman to make a play. If you know.
Yeah. Also, we're playing on concrete, so you hit the ball hard on the ground, they're not going to make a play on it.
Right. So yeah, obviously the path gets much harder. Maybe 3 and 5 could still be good enough, but to stay in control of our destiny, we'll need to pull off the upset over Mag and David, and anything's possible. We'll wait and see how that goes.
And even if we lose to Mag and David, we gotta treat YD like they're the best team in the league, because we go in there thinking we're gonna beat them, and we're gonna get punched in the mouth.
Right. Okay, so that's so now we've previewed now we've recapped and previewed baseball, softball, volleyball. We recapped the track season. The track season is has come to a close. We talked about tennis for a bit. Hopefully tennis will get their first win next week. On to soccer, and I believe that's it after JV varsity soccer. I happen to be the JV soccer coach. Last week we had a big gritty come from behind win over Kushner. We are now 4-2 on the season. We have 2 big games against Frisch this week. I think we already punched our ticket into the playoffs, but these Frisch games are still going to be very critical in terms of where our playoff seating is. We are playing for a first-round home playoff game, and I think of all the TABC spring sports teams that play in school, I think the JV soccer team is the best chance of there being any spring home playoff game at TABC. So I'm going into that week hoping that we can at least split with Frisch, but it'd be nice to win those 2 games as well, just to improve our seeding to as high a seed as possible. We're clicking at the right time. Adiv Rimberg switching from offense to defense has really helped. David Gampel has been a real spark off the bench, had a hat trick in the last game, and we'll see how that goes.
Hold on, time out for a second. This has nothing to do with TBC sports. It has to do with normal sports. But I don't know if you guys just saw the ending to that. I mean, the game 7 of Blues Jets. The Jets just tied the game.
I was looking at it before.
With 1.7 seconds left to go in the game.
Wow.
So that's live breaking news.
Okay, let's finish this recording so we can go to overtime.
It's overtime. It's going into overtime.
Right.
Before we got on, it was 3-1.
Right. Wow. I'm gonna have to watch that online. Okay, and varsity soccer. Varsity soccer had a big week.
Wait, OG, I just wanted to point out something about JV. I know you're the coach, so you could maybe touch on this a little bit, but I've been to 2 games now, and I've seen – it seems like on paper they're better than every other team, at least to the knowledge that I know. And it seems like it might be a little bit of maybe selfishness, like I want to score rather than making that extra pass. Yeah. I don't know, maybe I'm completely wrong, but that's what I've.
Yeah, Kushner was an okay team. I think we played down to them a little bit. A lot of the reason why that was the game was because of our own miscues. We made a lot of mistakes in that game. Right. We haven't found a consistent keeper. We've been alternating a lot between Eyal Lemberger and Max Berger. We're going to have to make a decision on, if it's in our best interest to stop, rotating between keepers every quarter, because it could kind of stall your momentum and your progress. So we'll have to see about that going forward as we played the 2 games against Frisch this week. But this team has a lot of heart when they go down. They're playing an undefeated and defending champion SAR team at SAR. They were down 5-0. This soccer talk for 0. Yeah. They were down 5-0 to SAR at the end of the first quarter, and they came back to win the game. They were down by 2 heading into the final quarter against Kushner, and were able to pull off that win. I don't think they'll be able to get away with that against Frisch. They'll have to play they'll have to play a perfect game, in my opinion. I don't think you can get away with those types of mistakes against Frisch and win the game. So we'll see. And varsity soccer deserve a lot of credit for what they've done since coming back from the Pesach break. They lost really two bad home games against SAR and Frisch. Their spot in the playoffs seemed to be in real jeopardy. And to their credit, they got a really impressive come from behind overtime loss against SAR, which gave them a crucial point. And then afterwards, they had two very gritty home wins over last year's defending champs Kushner and last year's runners-up Ramaz. So now TABC Varsity Soccer are officially in the playoffs. They punched their ticket. Their seed cannot be any higher, and their seed cannot be any lower as they go into their final regular season game against Frisch tomorrow night. So they are not playing for anything, and I'll be curious to see how they approach that in terms of, resting starters, not wanting to risk any injuries. It's my understanding that maybe Tzvi Gold will sit out and Gabe Melnikov will get the starting goal. Now they're really just waiting to see if they go on the road against DRS or go on the road against North Shore in the first round of the playoffs. And that's really your spring sports recap.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think that, you're kind of in that grind in the fall sports season where it's kind of, it's less sports, but it's like almost like 3 games a week, like every week. And it's only those 2 sports. When you get to spring sports, it's only 8 games for each sport.
Right.
So it goes by like that.
Well, it's been a topic of conversation for a long time. Do people think that spring sports should start earlier so they can have more games in their regular season? It's a food for thought for sure.
Well, I mean, here we're all affiliated to one TBC sport.
It's kind of ironic you mention that. All 3 of us are affiliated with spring sports program.
Yeah, and if you lose, like, it feels like every game's a must-win game. So that aspect of it, it's either you lose the game and you're headed for your seeding.
Right.
I think also
for the two of us, for Jogo and I, it's different because our sports are not affected by weather. Softball for you is affected by weather, so you really can't start. It's harder for you to start any earlier, if you know what I mean.
I mean, we also all do double headers, so like,
right,
we played a lot of double headers too. So it's a lot. So for our season, we play like 4 days.
Right.
I've also noticed with volleyball is that some weeks there's 3 games, some weeks there's no games. It's very spread out. Not spread out. For some weeks, and then some weeks there's just nothing, which is, I guess that's how the scheduling works. But there's definitely more time to play more games.
I think what I would do is instead of making us play Halo twice, I'd make us play Halo twice.
Well, that would have been more beneficial in terms of our playoff fortunes.
I mean, it's not fair that Frisch gets to play Halo once and plays Halo and us twice.
Right. Yeah, I mean, listen, JV softball, we can be frustrated all we want with the luck of the draw in terms of the opponents we got and how many times we got to face them, but we should have swept Frisch.
Yeah, we should have. I mean, we didn't have a div.
Right.
Next year, we got to get on that MTY grind. Shout out Ori Schloss. He's gonna.
Well, I think softball. If you want to have guys who are on multiple teams on your softball team, if you want to have baseball players on your softball team, I think the best way to go with scheduling is to schedule most of your softball games on Friday.
Yeah, but you can't make Hilo come up here on a Friday.
No, you can do the best you can with getting all of your other games on Friday. And also, there's something about playing softball on a Friday that kids won't find it being annoying, because what else are kids doing on a Friday? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think
if you have someone like Eitan Popowitz who didn't want to play this year, that's not me throwing shade at him at all. I think he would say that I'm 100% right in saying this. He just didn't want to go to for example, he wouldn't want to go to Mag and David this Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody wants to go to Mag and David this Wednesday to get killed.
Right. So, if you were more creative with the schedule in terms of having as many games as you wanted on a Thursday night or a Friday, maybe that's the way to go.
I mean, I think that next year what we should do is all the juniors, because all the sophomores this year, the juniors, the ones that want to play, I think we should just get all our best juniors and just, because we'd be one of the best teams.
Right, and who knows if we'll have who knows if there will be a JV softball team next year? Because think about it, Micha Block is the only freshman who gets regular playing time right now. To my understanding, now.
Yeah, Zelkowitz and Edelstein have come in off the bench. Salingo had a nice hit the other day. Shayar had a hit yesterday or Friday. So the freshmen are solid. I don't know if it's enough for a team next year.
Right. All right, boys. Any final thoughts?
Let's go Storm.
All right, volleyball looking to close out, go 5-3 to punch their ticket into the playoffs. My JV soccer team 4-2 right now, hoping to go 6-2 with a sweep over Frisch this week, and Noah Kessler hoping to go 3-4 this week against Mag and David.
And just a final thought about volleyball. So in our 2 seasons that we've had a team, we've gone 4-4 at home and 6-3 on the road. So I'm not sure why, but we play much better on the road. I'm not sure the correlation between playing at home and playing on the road, but we'll see what happens.
Let me ask you this: do you guys find the low ceiling to your benefit or to your disadvantage, or it doesn't really matter?
So it's definitely nice to have a low ceiling because there's many times, like when we play at home, that when the ball hits the ceiling on the other side, the play's automatically blown dead. So it's definitely nice to have a taller ceiling. Also for serving, if you're just trying to get it over, it's much easier with the taller ceiling. But I really think it's not necessarily the ceiling. I think the main difference between all the other schools is that every school has a different ball. You'll go to any hockey game and they'll all have the same orange ball. You'll go to the soccer games and they'll all be the same indoor soccer for the most part. For example, Ramaz, they had NCAA balls, whereas the rest of the league they use high school balls, and the balls are totally different. And you'll go to when we went to Kushner twice, their balls are much heavier than the balls that we usually play with. And when and all the schools, they use different brand balls and they use different discs and different amount of air in the balls. So it's very you have to be able to adjust. You're not going to a baseball game and everyone's going to have the same baseball.
Right. Yeah. Noak, I got one final message for the viewers.
Yeah.
The luggage tags.
I mean, stay tuned for the next episode. We got some breaking news coming in the next episode that you're not going to want to miss. So remember to like and subscribe. OG, take us away.
That'll do for this episode of the Stormcast. Volleyball and soccer will wrap up their regular seasons this week. Baseball and softball will look to get some big results this week. Tennis will hope to get on the board. And that wraps up this episode of the Stormcast. Have a good night.